Imagine two athletes with the same talent, the same coach, and the same training. One becomes a champion, the other gives up. The biggest difference isn't in their muscles, it is in the voice inside their head.
What are you saying to yourself every single day? Today, we'll explore one of sports psychology's most powerful tools, the psychology of positive self-talk.
Section 1. The voice inside you. Let's take a look at the conversations we are constantly having with ourselves. Okay, let's dive into this by acknowledging a truly fascinating reality about human nature. Every single one of us carries on thousands of conversations every single day. But here's the catch. The vast majority of these conversations aren't with our friends, our family, or our coworkers. They are with ourselves. Sports psychologists have a specific term for this. They call it self-talk. It is that internal dialogue that occurs before, during, and after a performance. It's the silent, running commentary in the background of your mind that is always evaluating you, guiding you, or, let's be honest, sometimes criticizing you. Now, this internal dialogue essentially falls into three buckets. It can be positive, negative, or instructional. When we harness positive self-talk, it works like a psychological anchor. It helps athletes remain deeply calm, incredibly confident, and laser-focused right in the heat of competition. But on the flip side, negative self-talk is literally like a virus in the system. It breeds self-doubt, generates heavy anxiety, and amplifies the fear of failure until it just becomes totally paralyzing. Think back to our two athletes from the very beginning, both standing at the starting line. Now, their physical preparation is identical, but internally, athlete number one is saying, I have trained well, I can do this. Meanwhile, athlete number two is repeating, I'm going to fail. They've received the exact same physical training, right? But their minds are actively preparing them for entirely different outcomes. One is priming the body for victory, while the other is basically negotiating the terms of defeat before the race has even begun. So the absolutely crucial point here is this. We are not talking about toxic positivity. Positive self-talk is not about blindly pretending that problems, tough competitors, or difficult circumstances just don't exist. It's not about standing in the middle of a thunderstorm and telling yourself it's sunny out. Rather, it is a deliberate, strategic choice. It's choosing to use words that actively increase your confidence and encourage effective forward-moving action. It's all about transforming a daunting reality into a manageable challenge, simply through the exact words you select. Section 2, the playbook. Let's break down the difference between motivational and instructional self-talk. There's a fascinating distinction between how we fuel our minds versus how we direct our bodies. On one hand, we have motivational self-talk. These are your energetic drivers. Statements like, keep going, stay strong, or never give up. This is exactly what you use when your muscles are burning and you just need to push through that pain barrier. But on the other hand, we have instructional self-talk, and this is highly specific. It's grounding. It reminds you about technique, breathing, posture, and strategy under pressure. So instead of just saying, try hard, you might tell yourself to drop your shoulders, or keep your eye on the ball, or breathe in for 4 seconds. It grounds your physical technique right when the pressure is trying to pull you apart. So why do elite performers rely on this so heavily? Well, because it works. The research clearly shows that employing these specific self-talk techniques yields massive benefits. It dramatically improves concentration because it keeps your mind focused on the present task rather than worrying about the future. It enhances emotional control, which allows you to ride the waves of a high-stakes environment without panicking. It builds incredible resilience under pressure. It actively reduces that crippling pre-competition anxiety. And honestly, perhaps most importantly, it speeds up your recovery from mistakes. When you make an error, the right self-talk stops the downward spiral and immediately resets your focus for the very next play. Section 3, Beyond the Playing Field. How we use constructive dialogue in everyday life. Now, I want to step off the track and field for a moment, because you don't need to be an Olympic athlete to harness this toolkit. Its power extends far, far beyond professional sports, straight into our ordinary lives. Whether you're a student preparing for grueling final examinations and trying to manage that study anxiety, or a professional sitting in the waiting room before a high-stakes job interview, using instructional self-talk can completely ground you. It helps an entrepreneur standing on a stage, getting ready to pitch to investors, turn their self-doubt into successful, confident action. It even helps public speakers and everyday people facing complex personal challenges. Every single one of these individuals benefits from taking control of their internal dialogue. The exact same psychological methods that help a sprinter win gold can help you ace an interview or make a courageous life decision. Section 4. Rewiring your inner dialogue. Building lasting psychological strength. To begin building that real psychological strength, we first have to acknowledge something important. Negative thoughts are entirely human. They can't always be completely prevented, but they absolutely can be challenged, interrupted, and reprogrammed. Notice the cognitive shift required to do this. Instead of settling for a destructive, absolute thought like, I always fail, which is a total dead end, by the way, you actively replace it with a realistic, encouraging thought like, this is difficult, but I can improve. Do you see the difference there? You aren't denying the difficulty of the situation, but you are framing it as a process of growth. Replacing destructive thoughts with realistic, encouraging ones is literally like lifting weights for your brain. Over time, it builds immense psychological fortitude.
So, here is your action plan, broken down into 4 clear steps. Step 1, catch and challenge those negative thoughts when they arrive. Step 2, actively replace them with realistic, encouraging instructions or motivations. Step 3, and this one is vital, combine your positive self-talk with goal setting and mental imagery. If you've been following our explainers, you'll remember the deep dives we did on how setting precise goals and visually mapping out your success creates a literal roadmap for your brain. Self-talk is the engine that drives you along that roadmap. And finally, step 4, practice regularly. Just like physical muscles, your mental framing requires daily repetition to become an automatic reflex.
Ultimately, whether you are stepping onto a field, into a boardroom, or just waking up to face a really difficult day, it comes down to a fundamental choice. Every champion hears 2 voices. One is the voice of fear, telling you that you aren't enough, that the stakes are too high, that failure is inevitable. The other is the voice of courage, reminding you of your preparation, your resilience, and your remarkable ability to adapt. Both voices will speak to you, but the one we choose to believe, the one we choose to amplify, ultimately determines the direction of our lives.
Your greatest coach may already be living inside your own mind.
So, as you step into whatever challenges tomorrow brings, ask yourself, is your internal voice your biggest critic or your greatest ally? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope you take these tools and start coaching yourself to incredible new heights. Coming next, attention and concentration, the secret of elite performance. I'll see you there.